What's up, everybody? This is Terrence Plummer II. You're tuned in to the UCF Football Updates podcast. Let's go.
This is Mac Loudermilk, and you're listening to the UCF Football Updates podcast.
What up, Night Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the UCF Football Updates podcast. Today, we have a special episode featuring a former All-American, former AAC Scholar Athlete of the Year, and most recently a member of the All-Big 12 Conference second team, none other than recently graduated UCF linebacker Jason Johnson. Welcome to the show, Jason.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Appreciate having you on. It kind of feels weird saying that you graduated and you're a former Knight now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you've been such a big part of the team last couple of years. We're going to miss you, that's for sure. So I suppose I have to ask the most relevant question, kind of in jest here, but so what's going on with this Twitter beef with Knight Nation?
That's not really it's not really Night Nation. It's just a few people that's they've been talking crazy all year. And I finally said something to him and he in his feelings. So
yeah. I hear that. Yeah. UCF Twitter can be a pretty crazy place at times, especially if we lose a game or two.
Yeah.
But more on a serious note, you had quite the journey in college football, right? I mean, maybe it's something that's not as unprecedented anymore due to the transfer portal, but still somewhat rare to jump from, the FCS level all the way up to, FBS and then Power 5. Can you talk about that journey of going from someone who was under-recruited, playing at the FCS level all the way to being, one of the top defensive players on a Power 5 conference team?
Really, it started in high school, and when I was looking for a home for college, I really had one offer, and that was to EIU, and I really came in on like a half scholarship, so I had to earn like my full scholarship after my freshman year. I got the freshman All-American. Then I had a good 3 years there. Then I had the portal once my head coach, he had left and went to Duke. So I was like, and people was telling me I should be transferring. I could play at a different level. So I was like, I might as well see what I can do. So I hit the portal and ended up at UCF.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, it seems like I think from stories I've read that, if the coach hadn't left for Duke, you may have never left and kind of stayed at EIU. So do you kind of look at that as a blessing in disguise?
Yeah, it definitely is. I definitely would have played at least one more year there, but once he left, I had to go.
Yeah, I hear that. Did you always feel that you could play at a higher level in the FCS? And that's not to put down the FCS, but obviously overall the competition's a little better on the FBS. Did you always feel and have that confidence that, maybe you were just under recruited, but you knew you could play at that next level?
Yeah, I knew. I'm always been confident in myself, no matter what anybody else is saying. So I knew I could play at that high level, and I did.
Yeah, no doubt about that. How was that transition though for you when, obviously in year one at UCF, you made a major impact right away. You led the team in tackles, but did you feel the difference in play? Like, was it any faster or more difficult at all when you first? Was there an adjustment period, or was that something that you were like prepared for right away?
I learned the defense quick, and the biggest difference was the O line. The O line was just way bigger, but I was good getting around them and still making plays. But the skill positions, it wasn't that big of a difference. So it was really easy for me.
Yeah, it was more like the lines are a little deeper, a little bigger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that transition, it wasn't too difficult last year. But yeah, I mean, you obviously made an immediate impact, led the team in tackles where you were all conference and AAC, and you really established yourself as a leader of UCSD. Your leadership style has been described as a little bit more quiet and, leading by your play on the field. Can you talk about, being a leader of the defense and kind of your style of leadership?
Yeah, I really just lead by example. Like I try to do everything the right way, work hard, do good in the classroom. I just go hard on the field and just show people what I do and want them to follow behind me.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Was that how is that? What, like when you arrive onto a new team after being well established at EIU, you know all the guys, you know the coaching staff, and then you jump over to UCF and you probably don't know that many people, right? Everything's new, the campus, the city, the restaurants, the team, the environment. Is that, how is that when, walking into a new situation?
It was a little weird at first. I knew I was going to play, but it was like some of the players none of the players knew me. Some of them thought I was a freshman. Like I learned that in like because some people thought I was a freshman. Like yeah, I gotta show them what I do in fall camp. Then that's when they knew.
Yeah, for sure. I think, when you first transferred over, Travis Williams was one of your recruiters that brought you in. And you had said almost immediately that you felt like UCF was home. What gave you that vibe? Because I'm sure you visited other schools or had other offers. What kind of attracted you to UCF?
It was really the coaches like T. Will. He was real cool dude. Coach Addy, Coach Ingram, Coach Martin, and Coach I forgot his name, but he was like he was a GA,
Okay.
but he left. Like he was there on my visit, but he left when I enrolled. But it was really just the coaches, like the players. Everybody was cool, and you just feel like a home.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And, you get to play with, an established linebacker like, JJB. What was that like kind of teaming up with some of those guys, some of those other linebackers that had already been on the team? Did they kind of welcome you into the linebacker core?
Yeah, they welcomed me, and especially Jen. He definitely told me I could play right away, and I knew it was a big need, so I came in and did what I had to do.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's talk about that 2022 season. It was one of UCF's like better seasons in a while. I know you weren't here for the 2017-2018 run where UCF was undefeated, but it's the first time that UCF had made a conference championship in 4 years, and you guys started out pretty hot, going 8-2, and had some of those big wins over Cincy, and a couple other teams there. But then you ended up kind of trailing off the end of the season, losing 3 of 4, and including the conference championship. What do you think happened there that contributed to that kind of skid there at the end?
Um, I don't really know what exactly happened. It just seemed like everything was just falling apart. Like we ended up losing the Navy. We didn't have our home field advantage for the conference championship. Then we could have won that game. We forced the fumble, got the ball back and scored. Then we just you messed up again at the end. Everything started falling apart. So it was just I don't know what happened. It was just crazy.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. But you did get to you only got this for 1 year, but you did get to experience the famous or infamous UCF USF rivalry, and obviously you were part of a great one. That one, at first looked like we are going to blow them out, but that went wire to wire and ultimately ended in a win. Did you kind of feel that energy of the rivalry? And like I'm not sure if EIU has like any big rivalries like a UCF USF or anything like that, but how was that experience, even though it was only 1 year of playing that, being part of that USF UCF rivalry?
Oh, that was really fun. I seen it all week on Twitter, like the fans going back and forth. Then we get to the stadium, the fans in the stadium cussing us out. We walking up on the field. It was fun. It was a real good environment. It was a great game too. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I'm gonna miss playing them because it's always a fun time of the year. Did you guys view, interesting to hear from a current, I know you just graduated, like almost a current player's perspective. Did you guys feel like, since you did get to experience USF, Cincinnati's kind of been sort of de facto our new rival or our secondary rivalry? Did you feel that same juice against Cincy or close to it in the past 2 years of facing them?
It was definitely the same. I felt like it was just as big as the USF game both years. So I feel like it was definitely the same.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's getting up there for sure. So it is cool to see. So then this year you get, UCF makes the big jump. We're in the Big 12. How would you evaluate your guys' first year in the new conference? I know everyone came in fairly confident. There was some pretty big expectations, but it didn't feel like, obviously the previous year you had won 9 games and then this year it goes down to 6. Was that did you feel the difference in conferences? Was it, I know there were some struggles and things like that, but what do you think really contributed to that kind of 6-6 type of year, which is not bad, but it's obviously not great. Was it a step up, really a big step up in competition? Because you had just talked about how a lot of the skill players are the same, so but maybe the guys up front are a little different. Was that kind of the same thing in the Big 12, or how would you evaluate that first year there?
I would say it was definitely a step up, but like we still could have won all them games. Like, because most of them games we lost, we was in it till the end, and we ended up losing by a few points. So we definitely could have. We had the talent to be better than what our record showed, but we just didn't execute at the end.
Yeah, no, that definitely, there was some real close games there. Obviously, Oklahoma sticks out, and Kansas State was pretty close at the in the fourth quarter there. How much of that those close games? What's like kind of the mindset? If you could take me through the team in a close game, maybe you're on the road like Oklahoma or Kansas State when it's real close or you have a very slim lead. What has to go in? Obviously, you have to execute plays, but is there like a mindset part of that to really pull those games out?
Yeah, it really started with last year because it's really with the defense. Well, every game in 2022 when we let them score on the first drive, we end up losing. So Coach Ivey was just telling us like we got to start fast, and that was just emphasis all week and all year. And you got to start fast, and once you start fast, keep going, and you got to finish strong. So that was really the mindset right there.
Right, right. Um, so that obviously, I don't want to be the guy that talks about the linebackers. I know UCF Twitter always talks about it, but obviously, as a whole, the unit has been, depth wise, not as strong as previous UCF seasons. Did you obviously, you're an exception. You had a really good year, and it's not to talk bad about any of your teammates or anything, but there definitely seemed to be some issues with the run defense. What did you see from a player's perspective with the linebackers? Was it, a talent thing, or was it just maybe a coaching thing, or was it just tougher competition? And what do you think kind of happened with the linebackers and the run D as a whole?
With the defense, like you just can't put it on like one group. It was
Right.
really because if you watch film, it's really sometimes the linebackers mess up, but sometimes D line or sometimes safety. Like we miss the tackle, get out of gap. Like it's really everybody as a whole, and sometimes like the scheme is like it's the scheme. Like it just everything as together just made it bad.
Yeah, and obviously you guys had a transition year in terms of a new defensive coordinator. Travis Williams went off to Arkansas, and UCF promoted our new defensive coordinator, Addison Williams. But that was his first year ever as a DC. How did you feel he did for kind of a rookie defensive coordinator? How would you evaluate him as your guys' coordinator?
I think for the most part, like as a total defense, he did a good job. Like we didn't have the worst defense, but it was just certain like fits and things we had to do. Like we could have did better, but he did a pretty solid, okay job overall.
Right. Gotcha. So, the linebackers, you had the veterans like you and Walter and some of these other guys, but there's a lot of youth at the linebacker position for UCF right now. Guys like Andrew Harris and and more. Did any of those guys start to stick out, maybe even practice, something that gives fans some hope for the future at the position? Did any of those guys start to separate themselves and maybe look like they're going to be future studs?
Definitely with Andrew, everybody's seen it. Everybody's seen his potential. Everybody knows his potential. It just he got to learn the plays and learn the defense. Once he get that figured out, he's gonna be a good player. And Cam, he's still putting on size. He's smart. He's one of the smartest on the team, so he know everything about the defense. And we got TJ. He one of the hardest workers. So we got a nice young future in the linebacker room.
That's good. That's great. Well, you mentioned using your brain and you guys that are smart. Obviously, you're known as a very smart player. You're a scholar athlete, and you have a lot of accolades when it comes to academics. How much does that go into your play style? How much does your brain and seeing plays and knowing where to be, obviously you have the size, you're physical and you're athletic and all that, but how much would you say the academic side of the game comes into your own game?
It really just like comes down to like your football IQ and like it just really just is playing, like getting the experience. Like if you're not smart, you really I don't know, you just gonna be messing up. But it definitely holds a lot of weight on the field.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, it's always good to have kind of the natural athletic ability, but also the smarts for sure. You finish your UCF career as really really strong. You led the team in tackles for 2 years, and you had all types of accolades through conference awards and all that. What do you feel your legacy is at UCF, or how do you
My
want to be
legacy,
remembered?
uh, I'll just say somebody who just always went 100%. Like I never gave up. I never went half, gave half, or I played almost every snap, kickoff, punt, defense. I never gave up. I always went 100%.
So that's how you kind of want to be remembered.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now that your UCF career has, winded down here, you most recently were in the Hula Bowl, named a defensive MVP. So congratulations on that. But what's next for Jason Johnson? Have you kind of started training for the NFL, or what's your kind of goals here?
Yeah, I've been working on my own right now, but starting like on like the 28th, I'm gonna go down to Pete by Maritos. I'm started training there for 8 weeks. Then we got the pro day in Dallas. And after that, then you see I got to test well, then it's the draft.
And your goal is the NFL?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Did when you were coming out of high school and you were like under recruited, like we talked about, did you think that NFL was a possibility?
I definitely thought that, but now that I look back at it, I feel like if I would have stayed at EIU, it would have been a lot harder than now. So yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of you're the first, like, I would say, current player. I know that you just graduated, but you're a first like current player I've really spoken with most of the time. There used to be a lot of rules. I've been interviewing a lot of former players over the past 3-4 years, but because current players weren't really allowed to get on podcasts, or they was kind of it was watched over, and couldn't really do that. So a lot of times I talk to former players, I ask them about the NIL and how much college football has changed. And I'm a big proponent of, I think, players deserve to get paid. They shouldn't be getting in trouble for that like it was back in the day. But how did you as a player feel? Because at least when you started in college, the NIL wasn't really around, and the portal wasn't like it is today, where you can just transfer freely. And those two things together, the portal and the NIL, have kind of really changed college football forever and very dramatically. It's like constant free agency and constant coaches having to re-recruit their own players. Do you think those two things change college football for the better, since you kind of were on both sides from the start of your career to the end?
Yeah, I think it's definitely for the better, especially for the players. I feel like the more power the players get, the better. Because we put in most of the work, we generating all the money, and I don't like when like the people at the top they have control over everything. Like I feel like the players need more power, and we've been getting that. So I think that's been good.
Yeah, no doubt about that. What about the portal though? I mean, it is a lot. I think when I started watching college football, which was all the way back in 2007, there was a lot of stock in just, playing for the pride of the letters on your chest, and really being prideful of graduating from that school, being there for all 4 or 5 years, and not just getting your degree from there, but just being like, hey, I'm proud I played at UCF. Because I think the reason why I like college football more than, let's say, the pros is because it just feels like there's more passion. Like, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, but I can't say I went to the Miami Dolphins. I can say I went to UCF. So it feels like it's inherently part of me. Do you think though the portal, like, has that lessened? I hate to use the term loyalty because everyone throws that around, but just the kind of pride for playing for one school, and makes it more about, hey, who's going to throw me the most money?
I think it definitely lessened the value of like loyalty and stuff, but like at the end of the day, it's just like people just trying to do what's best for themselves. Like, 'cause the same thing coaches do. They get a bigger job offer, they leave, get more money. I think feel like the players trying to do the same thing and just do the best thing for themselves.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, definitely you got to do what's best for yourself. I just wish, we could, especially, some of these UCF legends that have left. It's always tough to lose a guy like that, but obviously you gotta
Yeah.
do what's best for you, no doubt about that. Um, so as you prepare for the NFL draft, what is kind of that routine going to look like? Is it kind of 2 days, 3 days? I mean, can you talk me through now that you have a real chance of going to the NFL? I'm sure the level of just preparation and training has to go up a notch because everyone at that level was the best player on their college team or one of their best. So the kind of level of competition steps up again, but even bigger. So what does that training look like for you on a day-to-day basis, or what will it look like?
It's really gonna be 6 days, 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. I start at like 8 in the morning, finish at like 5 p.m. and it just like workout like speed training, lifting weights, film, interview preps, and just a lot of training. I mean a lot of like medical stuff, like been in the training room a lot. So it's really just all that for just 8 weeks straight.
Yeah, no doubt. And then as you leave UCF, and how do you feel about, because you're obviously a super recent player, how do you feel about the future of UCF? Obviously, we had some struggles in the Big 12 in year one, but it looks like the coaches are putting together some really good recruiting classes, at least on paper. And you're seeing some of those young guys, like you said, that look like they're pretty good. How do you feel about the future of UCF? Do you see us going up from here? Or is it going to be kind of tough to compete with, the upper echelon teams of the conferences, the Kansas States and, Utah that's coming in and all these other teams?
I think we definitely heading up. Like we gonna get better each year because this year we were the only one of the new teams to make a bowl game, and the games we lost, we could have won most of them. So I feel like you're gonna definitely get better each year.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That's the goal for sure. So,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a little bit of like kind of some speed round questions. I love to ask these and get your opinion on these. So, what is, we're up in practice every day going up against the offense, the ones on offense. Who was the toughest guy for you to guard on UCF's offense in practice?
I'll say the toughest two of I'll say it's two of them. I'll say RJ Harvey and Johnny. They were both
Okay.
just they were both super fast, quick. They was tough.
Hard to bring down probably, right? At least RJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about this year? We took the step up in competition, like I said. Who did you find to be the hardest offense that you faced, like opponent wise, this year?
Hardest offense, I'd probably say probably Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess you didn't get to play with Dylan Gabriel, but did you? A lot of his ex teammates were on the field at UCF. Was there any?
Yeah.
Did you feel there any sort of rivalry with that, or was there kind of extra motivation to win since we were playing against not only Oklahoma, which is a historic program, but playing against Gabriel?
Yeah, it definitely was. They were saying it all week, so it was definitely some tension and stuff building up towards the game.
What did you think of, going from in the American Athletic Conference? I'll always say there were some great teams in there. We were in there for a decade, and there was the Memphises and Tulanes and some really good teams in there over the years. Cincinnati. What did you? But most of those stadiums, for the most part, are a lot smaller than an Oklahoma. What did you think of the environments of some of the bigger Big 12 schools like Oklahoma? I was actually at that game. There's 90,000 people there, or some of these other stadiums like Kansas State that hold, I think, like 70, 75,000. What did you think of those crowd environments on the road?
It was definitely a lot crazier, especially Oklahoma. Like it was just their whole stadium was filled with red. It was definitely crazy.
How do you compare it to UCF's home crowd when it's like fully sold out and it's rocking?
I'm gonna be biased because we the home team, so I think ours was a little better. So
Yeah, ours is always awesome. It's jumping for sure. Who was the funniest guy on the team?
definitely drop.
Oh yeah, okay. Traymon's
Yeah,
the funniest.
yeah, definitely drop.
All right, that's funny. All right, you got to settle debate. What is the best UCF jersey outside of the space uniforms?
Uh,
Or what's your preferred like color scheme or mix and match of jerseys and pants and helmets?
I like the I like the all black with the white numbers. But yeah, the all black.
Okay, all black. Yeah, that's I was talking to another player earlier and they were saying the all black too. So yeah, I like the all black uniforms. They're pretty cool. What about what was your go-to UCF or Orlando restaurant or on-campus restaurant?
I like the I like Huey's a lot. Huey's
Okay.
in Huey's in Fat Shack.
Okay. I haven't heard of the second
Yeah.
one, but I mean I was in school a long time ago, or not a long time, kind of a long
Yeah.
time ago. So yeah, for sure. So and you're originally from Chicago. So do you I think you said where did you say you were training again?
Pete Bomeritos.
Is that where is
That's
that?
that's like in he got two locations. There's one in Miami and one in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, so you're coming down to South Florida.
Yeah.
That's my neck of I'm in South Florida. I live, yeah, in Fort Lauderdale area.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that was pretty much the speed round. I just want to say, I appreciate you hopping on. We're all looking forward to seeing the future of Jason Johnson, and we appreciate all your contributions on the field for UCF.
Thank you.
That was another episode of the UCF Football Updates podcast featuring former UCF linebacker Jason Johnson. And we wish him all the best in his future NFL aspirations. Go Knights, charge on.